The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing games are missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, guys, my sincerest of apologies. I showed up like 40 minutes late to my own live. It's just been one of them days. We here. We're in the dog days of training camp with the future face of Japanese boxing, the one that's going to carry the torch when Inoue drops the gloves. My main man, Yugo Osaki, we're here in the Bay Area, hard at work, preparing for this big light flyweight title eliminator October 3rd. So, boxing fans and out there, just for all you out there, there's so much that goes into a fight, from the camps to the nutrition to the eating to the medical. So like today was just one of them days, man. We were at the doctor. We were at the doctor's office. The medical took like an hour and a half, 2 hours. Then I had to go to the supermarket. Then I had to make overnight oats. And this is all after training today. So my sincerest apology. But listen, guys, this is the aftermath of Naoya Inoue merger Ahmad Aliyev. There is a lot to dissect. There is a lot to talk about. So I appreciate any and every one of you guys that was patient enough and waiting for me. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Make sure you smash that like button, subscribe if you're new, and definitely super chat, because man, the monster, is it possible? Could he still be improving? All these assumptions I once had of him being at the tail end of his prime, were those false? Is he still, even after all these great moments, after all these great fights, has he unlocked a new level with this new approach to not just knockouts, but more so the sweet science of boxing? He's making the choice now, the calculated choice to box. So it's like there's a lot to dissect there. So we'll get into that amongst many other things. But listen, I'm going to be here for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. So if you're watching the live, leave your comments, hit the like button. If you're watching the playback, comment down below, hit the like button. It's gonna be a good show. It's gonna be a hell of a good show. I mean, look, just so you guys know, but before I get to the comments, right? Because I know I probably got some really good comments right now. Look, to show you guys how little time I've had to even be at my room and straighten it out. Look, this is my room right now. I got clothes thrown there. You guys know what the bottles. So probably after this live is done, we're gonna sacrifice some sleep, clean the room a little bit, wash some dishes, just keep everything, championship. Keep everything professional, because I want everything we do here to be at the highest level. And as you guys can see, this is not a room at the highest of levels right now, because I've been running around. I've had time. I'm barely in here. Half the time I'm only here, I'm either sleeping or talking to you guys. So listen. Anyway, shout out to everybody here. We got my main man. Let me see. We got Hockey. Shout out to him. He says from Malaysia, keep it up, BT. Good to see you, champ. Thank you so much. BT is here. 14 million for small Japanese men. Isn't that something, BT? Yeah, man. The reported number for Inoue's viewership across Facebook. A lot of boxing fans here in America were shitting on Inoue. They were shitting on Top Rank because they said, "Oh, how could you have such a big fighter fight on Facebook Live? That's disrespectful." And I said, no. For other fighters, it's disrespectful, but for the monster, see, he's one of the only fighters in boxing where he has the marquee value and the interest globally to where he can generate millions upon millions of views on a Facebook Live. So maybe that's corny for other fighters. For him, it's okay, and the numbers reflect that people want to see him fight. So yeah, pretty big accomplishment. UIA says, "Hey BT, I love your content. You're one of the real ones." You know what? I'm gonna screenshot I'm gonna screenshot this. That's a hell of a comment. That's a hell of a comment. I'm gonna screenshot this and post it on my Instagram later. Thank you, champ. BT, with the style Inoue showcase against MJ, did it heighten your confidence in him being able to scale at 126 and or 130 and above? Him and Rafa or Ball would be fun. I'll talk more about that later in the live. That's one of my talking points, but I would say yes. If Inoue is boxing, that makes him a lot less predictable, and that's a less unpredictable Inoue is harder to time, is harder to beat. So I would say, yeah, I'm more confident in him going into the Junto fight and featherweight. And I'm actually excited because you guys know, and I'm gonna bring his name up. You guys know I bring his name up every live, but you guys know what I think, who I think Inoue's toughest fight is between 122 and featherweight, and you know who it is. I'm getting more excited, like seeing him box and say that he's gonna continue to box and use this other layers of his skill set. Oh my God, I'm excited. I'm damn near horny just thinking about it. Just thinking about game plan to be Inoue, you know, because he's a great fighter. But anyway, he says, dude, if I ever go pro, please be my manager or help with matchmaking. All right, champ. You know, listen, I'll keep that in mind, man. You might be hearing something soon about True School. You know, I don't want to talk too much. You guys will see some things in the future. You know, Koi, shout out to you from Yokohama. Listen, we got good people here. We got Sydney in the building. Shout out to Jonier in Sydney. We got a great audience here. Horny BT is funny. Listen, man, I'm in camp. I barely see any women when I, you know, because I'm just from here to the gym, from the gym to here to the supermarket. Like we don't see no women, so I got all this pent up rage. I got all this energy, man. And after this fight, it's got to be taken out. But nonetheless, on that note, guys, let's get into our talking points, because I got 4 talking points, 4 things I want to get through in this live, and y'all can definitely chime in and give your world-class insights, because I always say, man, I don't got the biggest subscriber count on YouTube, but that don't matter, because it's not about quantity, it's about quality. I got quality subscribers, and that's what counts. So you guys, I'm sure, will add very, very important insight even for me, and we can bounce ideas and or perspectives off each other. So first talking point is this right here. True School Sports Live, True School After Dark. Let's get into it. So Naoya Inoue, in a bunch of articles that I was reading, he was talking a lot about how Terence Crawford inspired him. The Terence Crawford fight against Canelo inspired him and gave him even more of like a reference point to use when he was fighting. And to me, I thought that was pretty cool. I thought, first and foremost, I respect Inoue for that kind of humility. You know, a lot of these fighters at that level sometimes have an ego, and they don't want to say when they're watching other great fighters and maybe even being influenced by them. But one thing I know about my travels to Japan is that Japanese fighters and Japanese boxing community, Terence Crawford is probably one of, if not the most beloved American fighter in Japan. Because I went and I asked many Japanese fighters, who's your favorite fighter from America? And the 2 answers I got consistently were Terence Crawford and Gervonta Davis. So it's not surprising that he was watching Terence Crawford. But it also should go to show you guys that you know, Inoue is a great fighter, and some regard him to be the best fighter in the world, right? But if he's telling you guys that he watched Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford and what Crawford was doing to get ready for his fight, and that inspired him to put on that masterclass he put on against MJ, is there a greater endorsement for being pound number 1 than that? You know, Usyk has said Terence Crawford is the best fighter in the world. Bivol has said Terence Crawford is the best fighter in the world. And Inoue is pretty much saying that he's using Terence Crawford's fights as a reference point and inspiration to going into his fights, right? So he's getting these ringing endorsements from everyone, from the top guys in the game, his peers. It's one thing when the fans give you love. It's one thing when even the promoters give you love. But when your peers are giving you that love and that respect and acknowledging your skill set, that right there will show you, you know, the level that you're operating at, because it's the hardest to get respect amongst your peers, because they know what it takes day in and day out. They know what a training camp is like. They know what it's like to get knocked down. They know what it's like to have to learn certain skills like switch hitting and counter punching. So for me, I thought that was pretty cool. I thought it was great to see Inoue give Crawford that ringing endorsement. And then he went, listen, lost in the shuffle in the American media this week of Crawford, Canelo, and all the great things that came after that is the fact that, Naoya Inoue did his damn thing. He took a puncher and merge on a guy that many people thought would be his toughest fight to date, and he made him look like a bum. Like, straight up, he 12-0'd him. You know, maybe you could say Merger might have won 1, possibly 2 if you want to get real generous, but it was a pretty straightforward fight to score. So, you know, just like 2023, we had Inoue and Crawford fighting on the same week in big fights, legacy-defining fights. Crawford against Spence, Inoue against Fulton. They both showed out and had dominating performances, and history repeats itself 2 years later. So I thought that was pretty cool. I thought that was pretty awesome from the monster to give Terence Crawford his proverbial flowers and recognize the great performance he had. So let me see. Can Inoue pull a blood jumping up 3 weight classes? I mean, well, look, he's in his 4th weight class already. He's already skipped 1 weight class, so he's technically 5 weight classes up in his career already. So you're saying, can Inoue go from 122 to lightweight? Which I'm gonna tell you right now, I've seen Inoue in person many times this calendar year. I don't think he has the frame to fight at 135. I think featherweight might even be pushing it, to be honest with you. But if he's boxing like that, I think that gives him a better chance. But to answer your question, simply no. Pound for pound 3 isn't good. And also, Naoya versus MJ fight evaluated to be an A- is boo. I don't understanding. I think right now you have to give Crawford number 1 just because of the fact that he's a 5-division champion. And there's only 7 of those guys in the history of boxing, right? And then you could argue Inoue and Usyk all you want. I mean, they're both great fighters. There's no problem wherever you rank them. Nope. Naoya said he watched Canelo's fight before his match, and he thought Bud's fighting style overlapped somewhat with the strategy he was planning to use, so it was good for him to see. Okay, well, there you go. He's seeing what Terence Crawford did, and like I said, he used it as a reference point in his fights. So that he said what I said. He made him look like a bum because he didn't have enough time to warm up BT. Yeah, MJ, I mean, man, MJ. Where did the Inoues come from? Is it official? It came from Twitter today. Supposedly, I think it was Brunch Boxing reported it. So we shall see. We shall see if the numbers are official. What I can say is I was watching that live, and I remember like in the 8th round, there was 275,000 people watching at one time. And the whole, and you know, with streams, they add up your views for the entire stream together and playbacks as well. So it could have, he might have had maybe a couple million, right? He may have had a couple million when he watched when he fought initially, but then he might have got a lot in the playbacks as well. That's the beauty of your fights being on demand and being able to run it back and it being so accessible. So I have to see the numbers break down on that if they do have it, but he definitely got, like, if it wasn't 14 million, he definitely got at least 4 or 5 million, you know? BT Mar says, who do you feel is Inoue's toughest fight? I've never heard you speak on it. You've never, oh man, see. Y'all, guys, he asked me, so I have to answer the question. Before I get into my next talking point, the 2 fighters, I honestly think, and I'm gonna be blunt again for the 50,000th time, and you're probably gonna hear me say this 50,000 more times, but I really believe in my heart of hearts and deep in my spirit that the only 2 fighters from 122 to 126 that can be Inoue are Junto Nakatani and Angelo Leo. Every other fight to me, I don't even have to think about picking Inoue. I think every other fight, you know, there's some good ones out there, like Espinoza versus Inoue is a good fight. I like that fight. Nick Ball, I don't think could really do anything with Inoue, but apart from like a Espinoza, you know, really the only 2 fighters I think could do anything with them in the ring is that 122 Junto and 126 Angelo Leo, and it's just because of the style. It's a style thing, you know. It's a style thing. I think those guys have. I've always said for years, if you're gonna beat Inoue, one of the things you're gonna need to have to beat him is you have to have the ability to be a volume puncher. You can't just be a pure volume puncher, but I think you're going to need to have that ability to be a volume puncher. That's one of there's a couple of things you need to be in a way. That's like one of the most important things. And I feel like when I think of the elite volume punchers from 122 to 126, I think of those 2 guys. But obviously, it's just more than volume punching. So I've spoken enough on it. I don't want to talk about it too much because I'm going to start World War III, and I really don't want to get into the Angelo Inoue talk. Right now, I just want to give Inoue his flowers for what I thought was a great performance against Merjan, an amazing performance against Merjan, an evolutionary performance against Merjan, if you will, you know. What about Makita and Nakano? They're never going to fight. They're not going to fight. They're literally sparring partners. Nakano don't got a title. I don't think the powers that be in Japan let that fight happen. Shushu, I like Shushu, but I don't think he's on that level. That's my opinion. He has more to prove, in my opinion. He has more room to grow as a fighter. I think he's not ready for that kind of fight. But anyway, let's get into like just this whole thing about Inoue, Monster 2.0. Is it possible, guys? See, you guys have heard me say for a long time that I really do think that like Inoue is still great. I still think he's in his prime, but I feel like he's on the tail end of his prime. But you know what? One thing about boxing is that if you're a power puncher or a boxer puncher, a seek and destroy apex predator like the Monster, one thing that can extend your career is if you start learning how to box. Like he knows how to box, but you know what I mean? Like he if you stop looking for the knockouts and you start using your lateral movement, if you start using your jab a bit more, if you stop pressing so hard for the knockout to the point where you put yourself in the line of fire to get hit, he's always had the ability to be a pure boxer, but he's such a like many Japanese fighters, they like to look for the knockout. They like to go for the gusto, and that's why I love watching Japanese fighters. But he's at a stage now where he's a little older. He's been in some wars, been in some tough fights, been knocked down a couple of times, almost got knocked out a couple of times. And it doesn't gotta be that way. He's got skills to not make fights so damn hard on himself. So he was fighting a guy in Merjan who he knew could punch, and he understood the assignment that this is the fight where he needed to start boxing. And his dad, Shingo Inoue, even had to calm him down because he wanted to go for the knockout. Inoue said this himself. He wanted to go for the knockout, but Shingo had to calm him down in the corner and say, hey, look, stick to your boxing. And I think it's a great thing. And he's going to need that when he fights guys like Picasso, who's a taller guy, volume puncher, Mexican. Junta Nakatani, taller guy, volume puncher, great finisher. And then obviously, if he goes featherweight and he fights guys like Rafael Espinoza or Angelo Leo or even a Bruce Carrington, who I think Inoue would beat, but he can still punch. He still got pop. He still has some pop. He has to be, I think, a bit more cognizant defensively, and the best way to be cognitive, to be aware defensively, is to box and use that quick first step and use that jab and set traps like he did. And he was doing some great things, guys. Inoue was doing some masterful things in this fight with Merjan. I mean, there was that infamous clip where he was laying on the ropes and it was a catch and counter. He was doing a lot of catching and countering, and a lot of Japanese fighters don't do no catch and countering. I've been to about 16 or 17 Japanese boxing gyms in the last 3 years, all up and down the country, from Tokyo to Yokohama to Osaka to Okoyama to the whole, like, damn near the whole of Japan, it feels like. And I can't even tell you one time where I've seen a fighter work on catching and countering, but like with the same hand. That's an American boxing technique. That's from the American school of thought. When your opponent throws a punch and you catch that and you catch the punch. So like if a jab comes my way or a right hand comes my way, if I catch it here, I counter with the same hand. You don't see Japanese fighters do that. And so the fact that he's doing that now, that tells me that Inoue has been mentally in the lab. He's been probably studying different fighters and looking to put those things into his skill set. So it was beautiful to see. And like I said, that it made me excited about him, because I'm like, okay, I thought this way about Inoue, but now I'm seeing him, try to evolve and add some things to his arsenal. So maybe this is going to be the reinvention of the Monster, because all the great fighters, all of them, Floyd, James Toney, Eric Morales, any great fighter you want to name that won world titles in multiples weight classes, they didn't fight the same way in every single weight class. No, they had to reinvent themselves. So I feel like Inoue has reached that point in his career where he knows that he has to reinvent himself, and he is. And I think it's very possible that at the age of 32 years old, after 20 plus world title fights and wins and knockouts and being on the pound for pound list, I think it's possible that Inoue might still be improving. And that's a very scary thought for anybody from 122 to 126, because we already know what he brings to the table. So the fact that he's improving, boxing's in great hands. If Inoue is improving, and it seems like he is, and he's got that dedication to the sport, like he still loves it, and he's still, like, you watch Inoue, when you watch him sometimes, I get mesmerized watching him, because like he'd be in the ring, right? He'll be in the ring, and the mirror will be like off in the distance or off to the side, depending on where he's standing. And he's just watching himself. He's watching every little detail. He's watching every last little inch of how he turns his punches, his legs, how he's bouncing, how he's stepping to his right, how he's stepping to his left. And he just making them corrections over and over and over again. And that's why Naoya Inoue, his punches are so damn sharp. So It's very possible. Anyway, we got a lot of people here in the chat. I want to go ahead and read some of these comments because I see people. What's the difference of pure boxing with Inoue with pure boxing with Fulton? What's the difference between like their styles? Well, for one, when Inoue decides to be a pure boxer, he's got faster leg. He's quicker. He covers more ground. So like when Inoue's in his boxing stance and when he explodes off the back foot to throw that first punch, he can cover more ground. So so what's out of range for most opponents for Inoue is not out of range for him. He can cover more ground. But the thing is that trait that he has where he covers more ground and uses that explosive first step, he's been using that to knock people out. But see, now he's taking that same trait and now he's using it to box people. He's using it to set traps. He's using it to like catch and counter. So when you fight him and he has that mentality towards boxing, it's not the same thing. Stephen Fulton, very amazing fighter. Like, very, very good fighter. I don't know. I wouldn't say Hall of Fame just yet. If he beats Oshaki Foster, we might have to start talking about having some conversations. But Stephen Fulton, like, he doesn't have the legs of an Inoue, right? But still very, 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 very fundamentally sound. I think he's probably got he has a better inside game than Inoue. Like he'll, as far as when he holds his feet in close range and goes to work, he's better than Inoue at that. But Inoue, his legs are so explosive that he can get in and get out. So I would say, from my vantage point, that's the difference between when Inoue is pure boxing and when Fulton's pure boxing. I wouldn't even call Stephen Fulton a pure boxer. I don't think Stephen Fulton's a pure boxer. I feel like Stephen Fulton is a fighter that can box from the outside, but really Stephen Fulton's he's damn near an inside fighter because if you look at a lot of his career, he's an all-around fighter, but I would actually lean towards Stephen Fulton being more of a mid-range fighter or even sometimes an inside fighter because all of his fights that he's won, all the best Stephen Fulton fights you can think of, pretty much he's on the inside, That's my impression. Let me see. He says, great coaching. I think they sat down and said, look, kid, if you want to move to 126, we can't be getting dropped out with these little 122 pounders. It's true. I don't think they said that, but that's the truth. That's the truth, MJ punch hard, go get hit by Angelo or one of these guys at featherweight. You'll see it's different. I feel like MJ was not fighting to lose to survive. I feel like MJ was fighting not to lose and to survive because if he opened up and tried to win, he would have got stopped. I noticed him get hit with one particular body hit combination after that he quit. Yeah, and see that's why MJ is not going to be remembered and will be a footnote in history because to be great in this sport, you have to go above and beyond the Call of Duty, and he was not willing to do that. And his mouth wrote some checks that his ass quite simply could not cash on the night. So, yeah, there's that. Shout out to Hyro. He says, I know this is a box later, but Devin Haney is suing his ex for giving her things is dumb, and I feel Brian Noah is going to hurt him. It seems Devin is forced to take this fight for the money. Listen, shout out to you, Hyro. I just got done talking to you. I'm not going to address that because I'm staying on topic, but I agree with the last part. Honestly, people are sleeping on Nakatani. The dude is really precise as well. He is. He really, really is. But I don't know. I got real confident watching Inoue box like that. He's a much harder fighter to beat if he fights like that. Shushu is ass. Cardenas. Oh God, y'all hating on Shushu. You guys need to lay off my man Shushu. He said Cardenas would be. That's crazy. That'd be a good fight though. Inoue fought similarly like that in Donaire 1 after he got his Oberdome bone broken. Yeah, but see, he was forced to fight that way. It's different when you're forced to fight that way. He came into this fight with that mentality, which means he's operating from a more experienced, mature state of mind. And the thing is, it's not like he's not still punching. It's not like he's not still throwing hard, concussive, devastating punches. He's still doing that. Merjon's face looked like it got hit by a truck after the fight because Inoue was just working on being accurate, working on staying sharp, and it paid off in spades for him. So, yeah. Shout out to everybody here. It's your boy BT, Brendan Taylor, the untouchable True School Sports Empire. True School After Dark. It's been a long day. We're here in training camp with the future face of Japanese boxing, my main man, Yugo Osaki. His ass is asleep because we had a long day today. But the kid is the truth, man. This is like one of my greatest honors in life to be a pretty focal, a big point in this part of his training camp, and I'm taking it very serious, and I'm looking forward to October 3rd when he becomes the WBO mandatory challenger, and I'm looking forward to next year when he wins the world title. So I'm counting on the days. For that, guys. But until then, we just here going live, giving you all that world-class boxing content, and living this boxing life in camp, with like 50 gajillion water bottles over there. So let me see. BT, when you met Inoue, you said that if Inoue does not move up to 126, he is really small and his size is small, 126. Knowing that, is the value of 1 in 26 winning against him still great? It's still great because he's great. You understand? Like, it's still great because he's great. Like, Roberto Duran was scaling weight classes, and when he inevitably got knocked the hell out by Tommy Hearns, it was a great win because Duran had proven to be great even against bigger guys than Tommy Hearns. You understand? So, of course, it's great. Naoya Inoue is one of the most dominant boxers of the modern era. He barely loses rounds, and when he does, it's a big deal. So, I would say yes. And the thing is, even with him being so small, he's still going to go in as the favorite against every fighter he fights. Even the ones I think he might lose against. You always do this. You get recency bias. Junto's going to knock him out. Inoue doesn't punch the same no more. Even if he cannot box, it doesn't see. Haro, what do you mean recency bias? I've been saying for the longest time. Go back and watch both videos I did with Sean Tatel months ago. I said that Inoue is going to beat Junto. I never picked Junto over Inoue. I said that if Junto could beat Inoue, he needs to get a fight where he gets some rounds in, and he still hasn't had that fight yet. So maybe if he gets one of them fights, I might be more inclined to pick him. But right now, and pretty much since April or February, I've been picking Inoue, and seeing him box like that, I'm gonna continue to pick Inoue. Where can we watch Yugo fight? That's a hell of a question. I don't even know yet. I really don't even know, because it's not even like a big card. So shit, you might have to watch that shit here on True School Sports. I might have to. I'm gonna have to get in some trouble and record the fight or something, because I haven't heard anything about a TV network. So once I figure that out, I'll get you guys all the information. But either way, there's gonna be hella content here on True School Sports, shorts, videos, post-fight stuff. So don't worry, I got you covered. Is Inoue morphing from pretty boy Mayweather to Money Mayweather at this moment? What do you think, BT? No, I don't think he's. I see what you're trying to say, but no, it's different. But yeah, he's evolving into more of a boxer. But at the same time, I have to and it's not his fault. He's only fighting who the promoters are putting in front of him. But at the same time, it's like Merjan is not a high volume punching guy, so it's the perfect style to try to outbox, because you're gonna get hard punches coming at you, but you're not gonna get a lot of punches coming at you. You understand? So I think we'll know more about Inoue's pure boxing when he fights David Picasso, because Picasso is gonna bring the fight to him, and Picasso is gonna awaken this internal Bushido code that every Japanese fighter seems to have built inside of them. So we'll see where his boxing ability and his mental discipline is when he fights Picasso, in what I truly believe, guys, in my opinion, is the gayest fight in boxing. Respectfully. I'm at the airport waiting for my flight back to the U.S. I'm going to miss this place. Yeah, I hear you, champ. Safe travels home. We just saw Kenshiro get robbed. Junto is more Mr. Honda. Inoue isn't immune. Junto is the star they want to build. Maybe. I don't think so. I think Inoue is the money man for Japanese boxing, and no, they're not going to rob him. I love Kenshiro, and I think Kenshiro is an amazing fighter who doesn't get the credit he deserves. But when we're talking about money
and we're talking about commercial value, they're not even in the same galaxy. Inoue is way bigger than Kenshiro. He makes more money than Kenshiro. But yeah, it's very possible, guys, that Inoue is still improving, and that's a scary thought. And you know, I don't know yet. Like I don't know if I want to give it like I don't know if I want to. I'm not trying to overreact. I'm not trying to overreact because I know what Merjon is. Merjon is a slow-footed, heavy-handed counter power puncher. He likes to throw a lot of single shots, and his style is perfect for the style that Inoue was trying to fight. That style of fighting that Inoue had against him and staying mentally disciplined in boxing and using a lot of movement in his jab and setting traps, that's going to be put more to the test from a stylistic standpoint against Picasso. Even though I don't want to see the Picasso fight because I think it's unnecessary, and I have zero doubt in my mind that Inoue is going to break his hand or tear his bicep because this dude's going to be coming in with his head and all this stuff, and then they're going to say, "Oh no, we got to do the fight in August. He hurt his hand." And I'm like, "Well, I knew he was going to hurt his hand. This fight doesn't make any sense. We don't need to see it. Nobody's asking for it. Just rest until May." You understand? Give us your honest opinion. Can your boy Leo beat Inoue? Yes, I've always given you guys my honest opinion. You guys just don't want to believe that it's my honest opinion because you think I'm being biased. I think, look, obviously Inoue can beat Angelo because Inoue is the truth. But I've been saying this. I'm gonna say this 10,000 more times before they ever fight. But when Angelo beats him, because I'm not saying if, but when he beats him, it's going to go one of two ways. So if you guys want to know how the fight's going to play out, you can go watch both these fights on YouTube. They're on YouTube. You can go watch Seiya Tsutsumi. So if Angelo wins by decision, it'll look something like Seiya Tsutsumi versus Takuma Inoue. And if he wins by knockout, it's going to look like Ricardo Lopez versus Hideki Ohashi. It's going to be one of those two fights. You know? But the answer to your question is, yes. Bro, you guys are sitting on Picasso. He's clearly going to last 5 rounds. I mean, he may last 5 rounds, but like, I don't care. It doesn't matter how long he's gonna last. He doesn't deserve like. I know he's number one. I get it. I know the rankings work. I know how the rankings work all too well. Actually, like I know how these promoters really move behind the scenes and how they get these guys to be ranked when they want them to get ranked. Like I've been on some phone calls. I heard some phone calls that you guys haven't heard. I'm gonna keep to myself. But like he shouldn't even be up there. And Dea Picasso really and truthfully is it's unproven. He just fought a guy in Kiyonosuke Kameda who was a domestic level Cork and Hall fighter, and he was neck and neck with him. He had a close fight with him. Nah, man. It's unnecessary. Shout out to Joaquin, my main man. Good to see you, champ. Hope all is well. Do you still think Bud versus Canelo was equal to Tank versus Jake? Yes, I do. Because Bud versus Canelo wasn't a great fight. Like, I don't want to open up that can of worms, but like it was great to see Bud have a great performance and him beat Canelo easily. But it was like from an excitement standpoint, it was no great fight. And Jake Paul and Tank is probably gonna be just about the same. It was a joke, BT. LOL. I don't know that. You didn't say it was a joke. You're typing. Anyway, shout out to everybody here. It's your boy BT. We're just talking to Inoue right now because I've been running around, so I'm a bit behind on my content. I still haven't even had a chance to sit down and really like do my videos on like Brandon Adams and Boachuk and Lester and then Billy. So hopefully tomorrow I can get some of those done. Because we do have some good boxing on this weekend. We do got a good fight on Golden Boy on Saturday. I'm looking forward to it. You got Oscar Collazo taking on Jason Vazon. Listen, a lot of people may not know Jason Vazon, but that guy is really dangerous. He's really punching like that, and I've seen Collazo get dropped. So if he gets clipped against this guy the way he did against Gerardo Zapata, I don't know, man. We might have a new champion, and he might be from the Philippines. So I think it's a good fight. You know, it's a chance for Collazo to really showcase his skills against a guy who's going to bring the fight to him. So we're going to see what kind of composure Collazo has because it's going to be tested. But nonetheless, let me get back to these comments. I can guarantee it won't look like Lopez versus Hideki Ohashi. I'm going to tell you right now, if Angelo gets to the level I know he's capable of getting to, it's going to look exactly like that fight.
I'll bet a K on it. Eubank destroyed Hearn. I mean, we don't want to talk about that. Like I like British boxing, but like that fight, like you know what? I take it back, guys. I take it back. Inoue versus Picasso isn't the gayest fight in boxing. That fight is the gayest fight in boxing. That one, that the second one and the first one, those are the two gayest fights in boxing because the fights don't mean anything. The fights are just a cash grab. The fights, you know, sure they're exciting. Sure the guys go back and forth and they deliver a decent show, but like in the grand scheme of things, Eubank and Ben, the Sons, doesn't mean anything. It only means something to the British casual fans, which is what that fight's for. For us, you know, the everyday blue collar boxing fans, it don't mean anything. Conor Benn is improving himself in the 147-54 division, and Eubank ain't fighting no top middleweight or 68 pounder, so it's like it's pointless. But I saw some clips. It's cool. Not a fighter in the world at 126 that can make Inoue look that bad. Listen, all I'm trying to say is Angelo is clicking like I know he can click. Shit, you're gonna be in for something. You're gonna be in for a surprise. You're gonna be in for a big surprise. Have you seen Boo Boo come out of the woodwork? I have, and you know what? I'm excited about it. I think with Canelo losing and him not being a champion for the first time in like 3,000 days or whatever it is, however long it's been, 7 years. I forgot what it was, the stat exactly. But shit, they should still fight. Like I feel like, you know what? Canelo is coming off of a loss to Terrence Crawford, a welterweight, and Andre got his ass destroyed by the guy that Canelo refused to fight and still refuses to fight. So you can't really like knock Andre for losing to Benavidez because he fought the guy that Canelo refused to fight, right? The fight has a storyline. It's a very winnable fight for Canelo. I also feel like it's a very winnable fight for Andre at this point in his career. You know, I think it'll be a great build-up. Why not? I think it should happen. Like that's what I think. But you know, I know it probably won't. I know Andre hasn't fought in like 600 days. But I mean, who cares? Since bro, we have Jake Paul fighting Tank. Who cares about how long someone hasn't fought? Boxing has no absolutes and no principles anymore. Nobody wants to see Andre fight. Who even remembers him? Nobody wanted to see Canelo fight John Ryder. No one wanted to see Canelo fight Avni Yildirim, but we still got it. So it's like, you know, listen, you guys keep saying these things. You're going to bring out 2021 BT, okay? And you don't want to bring out 2021 BT because, Canelo just lost to a fucking welterweight. So my thing is, no fight should be off the table for him. If you got to fight William Skull next in a rematch, you got to fight William Skull next. If you got to fight Belenga in a rematch, go fight Belenga. Go fight someone your size because you just lost to someone that's a welterweight. Ilhashi got ran over that night, and the same will happen to Inoue. The same will happen to Inoue if Angelo clicks on all cylinders. Yeah, but anyway, I don't want to talk about Andre. You guys get me off topic. We're not getting off topic here. Y'all see this is what y'all do. Y'all comment things. This live ain't about Canelo. This live ain't about Andre. This live ain't about Brian, fucking Devin Haney's girlfriend. Fuck that shit. Okay, we talking about a real fighter. We're talking about one of the best fighters in the world. Okay, so we're gonna stay on topic with that. And then when I get to my talking points, then you can ask that bullshit. And if you want me to talk about it, then you can super chat it, and I might read it. But anyway, talking point number 3, which is simply this right here. I'm more confident in a way going into a Junto Nakatani fight. I really am, because my biggest concern for Inoue fighting Junto is not Junto's power. It's not Junto's size, but it's Junto's work rate. Like it's the amount of punches he's gonna throw, and it's how accurate and precise he keeps all of them while being a volume puncher. These are the things that worry me because Inoue hasn't really fought. Let me see. Let me go through my head. Who are some guys that Inoue have fought that you guys would say are volume punchers? Because Merjan is not a volume puncher. Stephen Folan is not a volume puncher. Ramon Cardenas is a volume puncher. I'll give Inoue that one. And look what happened when he fought a volume puncher. He won, but he didn't look his best. But it was a great fight. Who else?
Yi Jun Kim, he's not on that level, so it doesn't matter what style he is. Dohany's not a volume puncher. Who else? Donaire, intelligent fighter. At that stage of his career at 118, not a volume puncher. Like, now that I think about it, it's only been a handful of volume punchers at the elite level that Inoue's really fought. Like Ryoichi Taguchi was a volume puncher. What's his name? Taguchi was a volume puncher, and Cardenas was a volume puncher. And other than that, it's not really a whole lot. So I think volume, based on what I've seen in his career, is one of the things that you need to be Inoue. And Junto has that in spades, and he's a southpaw, which makes it maybe even a little more difficult to figure out as a volume puncher and a tall volume puncher. But again, where I think Inoue has a big advantage over Junto is in the foot speed department. And so he could control that whole fight. He could control all the real estate you want just with his feet. Just with his feet, just with his feet. Get in, get out. If you want to go to the body, get in, bang, get out, But the thing is, see, Junto, I don't think has the same explosive first step as the monster, but Junto has fast of enough feet. He's not Canelo in there. He has fast enough feet to where maybe that explosive first step isn't what it normally is. Because normally when Inoue fights these guys, he'd be way out here. He'd be way out here, and then bang, he's in range and he's out. I think Junto has fast enough feet to not fully offset that, but neutralize it just enough to fight how he wants to fight. You understand? But at the same time, because Inoue isn't going to be going for the knockouts as much, I think that might make that will create a scenario where Junto has to come to him, and Inoue potentially becomes the counterpuncher in that fight, which is going to be very, very interesting, because if Inoue is holding his ground and he's staying mentally disciplined and he's boxing Junto, and Junto's overcommitting, Inoue just waiting to see the holes and he's just countering, then I think it's very possible, guys. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, now that I'm talking about it out loud, this might be one of Inoue's best performances. As crazy as it sounds, because Junto was great, but like stylistically speaking, there's a lot of things I see that could go in his favor. It's really just a matter of mentally, can he stay sharp long enough to do that? We shall see. Reversely says, I really want to see that fight, but I'll fly down to Florida and buy BT some lobsters. You better get ready to buy me and Angelo some lobsters, because it's gonna happen when they fight. Let me see. I know I missed some comments. So now that boxing has its overdue correction as Bud as the current GOAT and the lads for the pound king. But after that, who's next up in boxing as far as the face of boxing? I don't know, man. We don't know. Canelo Alvarez kind of ruined that whole process, and I spoke about on the last live. Normally, when you get an older fighter, they fight a younger fighter, and the younger fighter beats them, and he uses that to ascend to the next level. But Canelo didn't want to do that. So boxing is going to have a long, desperate search for that. So you know what? I'm not going to say none of these guys like Abdullah Mason. You know what? I'm not going to say Brian Norman anymore. I'm not going to say Abdullah Mason. I'm not going to say none of those guys. I'm going to be 1,000% biased. I'm going to say the dude upstairs, Yugo Osaki, is going to be the face of boxing, because BT is going to be in this corner. So I back myself. Shout out to Hyro. He says, and thank you, Hyro, for the first super chat alive. He says, there's a lot of things I see with Joseph Parker losing. Well, there you go. You see what you see, Hyro, and trust me, I see what I see. And we shall see when they fight who's correct. Hopefully, Hyro, you have $25 to buy it on pay-per-view, because I guess DAZN's putting it on pay-per-view. So ain't that crazy? Netflix had this part of the subscription, Canelo Crawford, but like DAZN's charging people for Parker versus Woodley, which I like. It's a good fight, but it's not no damn pay-per-view fight. Remember when I told you that? I remember when I told you on the live that Canelo is going to lose because of volume. I don't remember that, but I'm sure you did. I mean, it sounds like something anybody would say, breaking down a Canelo loss, because that's normally how he loses. Volume. He fights in spurts. BT, I feel the Inoue quote he said in the press conference, I think after the fight, the weight car box is the way he wants to do it. I feel Inoue wants to box like that at 126 like Carver did. I can't wait for him. I think he's better. He's a lot better not even just at featherweight, but I think he's a harder fighter to beat when he boxes like that because Inoue has great mechanics. Punches are sharp. He don't gotta load up and look for a knockout. He can box and the knockouts will come to him. So, in my opinion, he's a tougher fighter to beat if he's boxing that way. You understand? What's the issue that Japanese fighters can't build a championship rep in boxing within the lower divisions? What are you talking about? All the Japanese fighters who have reputations in the lower division. So please elaborate on that because that doesn't make any sense to me. Is Luis Neri a volume puncher? Is Luis Neri a volume puncher? I would say, you know what? Yeah, I'd say he is. So you could add Neri in there too. I would say, though, he's a little bit less of a volume puncher at 122 than he was 118. At 118, he was a bona fide like volume puncher. 122, he still throws a lot of punches, but he loads up a lot more. I feel like when he fought at 118, he was more of a volume puncher. He put a higher output out there when he was a bantamweight. If you go back and you watch his fights at bantamweight, I would say those guys. Anyway, fought a few volume punches at 108 and 112 like Taguchi and Carmona. So Taguchi, Carmona, Cardenas, and who was the last guy I just said? And Neri. So Taguchi, Carmona, Cardenas, and Neri. So, and look, although he did beat all those guys and he stopped all but one of those guys that I just named, all those guys gave him some issues. Maybe I don't remember. I have to go back and watch the Carmona fight because it's been a while. So I won't say about Carmona, but Taguchi gave him some issues. Cardenas gave him some issues. Neri, and Cardenas both dropped Inoue because they're volume punchers. And Taguchi took Inoue the distance, and in my opinion, that's still been to date Inoue's hardest fight any weight class that he's had. So that'll tell you. Why do you never mention Inoue versus Espinoza? I have mentioned Inoue versus Espinoza. I mentioned it to him when I interviewed him. I put out a YouTube short of them sitting next to each other. I made a whole video about it. I've gone live and talked about it before. What are you talking about? Is it the fight that I want to see the most at featherweight? No, I don't think Espinoza is going to beat him. I don't think tall fighters with long-ass torsos that don't fight on the outside can beat him now in a way. So I probably don't want to see it as bad as you, so I don't mention it as much as you would. But it's a good fight. It's a good fight. Inoue versus Espinoza, who wins and why? Inoue stops him to the body because Espinoza does not fight on the outside. Espinoza is going to be right there. He's going to give up his size, and that whole torso is going to be right there exposed. Inoue going to chop him up, deep fry him. They fight. Yeah. And people don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear me say that because they think Espinoza is the guy to beat him. No, man, he's not. He's a very good fighter. He unless he improves his outside boxing ability, which I haven't really seen. I mean, he did box more when he fought Eddie Vasquez, but it's not to the level to where I could say he's beating it in a way. Nah, man. But I like him. I like Espinoza. I'm more confident in a way stick and jab can be the key to beat Nick Ball or Espinoza. I agree. I think he's being Nick Ball. Listen, with Nick Ball, I think he's beating him no matter how he fights. Nick Ball is not like that, bro. I'm tired of everybody with Nick Ball. But Espinoza, if Espinoza, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Espinoza gets in the pocket and keeps some shots real short, and he just rearranges Inoue's whole face. But I don't know, man. I feel like from the little bit I do know, and from what I've heard through the grapevine about from like the Japanese boxing higher ups, I don't think that's the fight they want to do. I feel like they think Espinoza is too big. So I feel like he's gonna fight the regular size featherweights. He's not gonna fight Espinoza. And I've heard all these rumblings about Espinoza going to 130. So I don't even know how long. I don't even know how much longer Espinoza is gonna be at featherweight. You understand? So we'll see how it goes. Well, Basie Miros was trash talking Jan Santana today in a Spanish YouTube channel. That's a good fight. That's a very good fight. I like that fight. Basie's a former champion. Santana's a guy that's knocking on the door of a world title. I'll tell you that if Santana wins that fight, Santana can fight whoever he wants at featherweight at that point, in my opinion, because Basie's, it wasn't so long ago that people thought Robacy was the number one featherweight in boxing. So, yeah, that's what it is. But guys, I mean, I had my last talking point here. My last talking point was pretty much that Inoue will be harder to beat if he starts boxing and whatnot and stop looking for knockouts. But I've already talked about that. So look, I done ran through all my talking points. So y'all can ask away. Ask what you want. We've touched enough on Inoue. 55 minutes worth of Inoue. You know, I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna stay on for 2 hours. We'll see how I feel about half an hour. But right now, I'll probably go like an hour and a half because it's late and I gotta be up early tomorrow. So get your comments in, get your questions in Inoue questions. You know, non-Inoue questions, boxing questions, non-boxing questions. Get them in. Hit the like button, super chat, all that stuff. You know. The HBO era is, again, shout out to Howard for the super chat. He says the HBO era is done. Parker isn't like that no more. I disagree with you, Harold. I think Joseph Parker is one of the best heavyweights in the world. And I like Fabio. I think Fabio is good. I give Fabio a lot of credit because Fabio Worley has shown that you can come from white collar boxing, and if you dedicate yourself and you give every fiber you're being to the sport, you can become a really good fighter. And he's a really good fighter. He's done a lot with the little in his career, but this is where the rubber meets the road. This is where I think he's gonna have a setback. He can't be. He's not being Joseph Parker. Let me say. He says, why don't the 126 champions unify? Do you want me to go champion by champion and tell you why each guy hasn't unified? I can tell you the exact reason why each guy hasn't unified. You ready? So here we go. So we'll start with Rafael Espinoza. Rafael Espinoza isn't unifying with anybody because he's thinking about going up to 130, and his company, Zamper Promotions, has a long track record of milking their champions' world title reigns. So they're trying to build him up as the next big star in Mexico. A lot of you guys out there are buying into it, and I like Espinoza, and I really do, but that's allowing him. The fact that he's gaining so many fans is justifying in the promoter's eyes that, hey, let's keep building this guy up until Inoue comes up here or until he goes to 130, right? So that's why he's not fighting nobody. Nick Ball isn't unifying with anybody because he loses to every single champion in the division, and he almost lost to Sam Goodman. So that's why he's not unifying. They're protecting him. And then as far as Stephen Fulton, you know, there were some options out there for him to unify, and you know, he said he can't make the weight, so he's going up to 130 to try to fight Oshaki Foster. And then as far as Angelo Leo, from what I know, as you know, part of Team Leo, from what I know, I don't want to speak on it actually, because if I speak on it, he might get in trouble. But there's some things going on promotionally. I'll leave it at that. There's some things going on promotionally that are stagnating him from even getting his next fight. Forget Inoue, forget unification. Like, he's having a hard time getting his voluntary because there's promotional things holding him up. So that's the state of every single featherweight champion right now. And y'all can take with that and do whatever you please. Harold says BT loves divisions that don't unify like 115. Most divisions in boxing don't unify. 130 hasn't unified. 140 hasn't unified. 47 took about half a decade for Crawford and Spence to get their shit together in a fight. 160 still hasn't unified. What do you mean I like divisions that don't unify? I love boxing. Most of boxing doesn't unify. And in fact, everything below like lightweight, unless you're Inoue, you don't even have the money. Like, these fighters don't even have the money to unify. Because this is what boxing fans don't understand about these titles. See, you see the titles and you see trophies and you see legacy. And I see those things too. But I also see 3%, I see 3%, I see 3%, and I see 3%. So if you're fighting for 4 belts, that's 3% each belt. 3 times 4 is 12. So that's 12% off the fighter's purse, right? Mind you, fighters have to pay 10% to the trainer. That's 22% of their purse gone right there. Then you got taxes. Then you got your promoter's cut, right? So maybe when you find over undisputed, fighter is lucky if he's walking away with even 50% of his purse. And if you're Oscar Collazo, let's say, right? Let's say you're Oscar Collazo. Oscar Collazo made 40 grand when he challenged for the world title and beat Melvin Jerusalem. And he's not making anywhere north of like 80 or 90 grand as a defending champion, right? So it's just basic mathematics. In certain divisions, the economics bear out that you can go undisputed and the fighter can get legacy and money. But in most weight classes below like featherweight, unless you're Inoue, these guys don't generate enough to even try to go undisputed. So that's the thing.
What's your friend Leo waiting for? Nothing. He's not waiting for anything. He wants to fight. But, I mean, he's got some things I can't really speak on publicly. I can't talk about these things. But it's out of his control. See, y'all really think, that's what I'm saying. Sometimes I love boxing, but I hate boxing because I really know how this shit is. Y'all really think that these fighters call the shots in their careers. And really and truthfully, it's only like 3 or 4 fighters in boxing who call the shots in their career, and Angelo's not one of them. So he's not waiting for anything. He's in the gym, he's training, he wants to fight. But there's other things at play that he has to work out, which I'm not going to speak on because I'll get in trouble. But even if he didn't have those things in play, I'm going to tell you this right now, because even before these things came into play, you know, one of those featherweight champions, well, I'm not going to say which one, but one of those featherweight champions got an offer to fight, and they turned it down like a punk. They don't want the smoke. So it wouldn't make a difference anyway if he didn't have these issues that I can't speak about.
Shout out to Harold,
which he says Teofimo versus Shakur on PBC told you to roll out. Yeah, but see, that's bullshit because Teofimo and Shakur are not PBC fighters. They're top ranked fighters. So PBC, well, okay, let me correct myself. Shakur and Teo are both built by top rank. They've obviously went with the Turkey Al Sheik, right? But it's not even really a PBC event because Turkey's involved. So real man, it's bad. Boxing down bad. You got Al Heyman, but they need a Turkey all the way now. So now boxing's really in the shitter. Like this is like when Anakin Skywalker turned when he took over the whole empire in Star Wars 3, Revenge of the Sith. When Anakin said when he told Obi-Wan, he said, "This is gonna be my new empire," and Obi-Wan was like, "Your new empire?" That whole shit. That's what it feels like. I feel like I'm in Star Wars right now. Feels like some Star Wars 3 Revenge of the Sith type shit with Turkey. PBC bending the knee, making fights happen with Turkey, right? And the main event is 2 fighters that weren't even built by PBC. Ain't that some shit? Ain't that crazy, guys, how boxing works out? These promoters didn't want to work together all these years. Now they got to work with Turkey. And PBC got to do a card with 2 fighters they didn't even build. Crazy. Mar wants to know, who are Yugo Osaki's favorite fighters? He likes Lomachenko. He likes Bam. He likes Inoue. He's been watching a lot of Angelo Leo recently. I've been putting on all of that. Yeah, I would say in the car on the way to the gym, he's always watching Lomachenko. So Lomachenko, Bam. He's been watching a lot of Andre Ward recently. What else? Who else have you been watching? He likes all kinds of boxing, but I would say Lomachenko. Lomachenko is definitely his favorite fighter because his favorite fight of all time is Lomachenko versus Roy Linares. He loves that fight. He watches it a lot. Let me see. Shout out to everybody here. I'm not trying to miss your comments, so don't think I'm trying to miss your comments. Is it the bag that all these champions want? Everyone wants the bag. It's not just the featherweights. You don't think Dave Picasso wants the bag? Dave Picasso about to pay off his tuition when he fights Inoue and become a full-time college student. So everyone wants the bag. Inoue wants the bag, but nah. One of the featherweight champions is moving up. The other one is thinking about moving up, and the other one is protected, and the other one has issues that I can't speak on, even though I know about them inside and out, but I can't speak on them because it's not for me to put out there. But I'll tell you this: can't even fight a voluntary right now because there's bullshit going on. So make that what you will. Shout out to my main man, John Yan. He says, crazy that Ajit Cabello is constantly overlooked, but that is boxing. It looks like he's getting a big fight in Germany, I think. Well, Cabello's beast, and I don't really think he's overlooked now. I feel like his name's in the mix. I feel like people know who he is now. You can't really say he's getting as overlooked as he was, but yeah, he's a beast. Will you be in the corner for Yuka's fights? That I don't know, but I'll be there. I'll be there for sure. I'll be there. I'll be way up. I'll be up there in Niagara Falls. I ain't never been in Niagara Falls. I've been all up and down America. I went to Verona, New York, which is like a whole different part of upstate New York. Niagara Falls is damn near Canada. I ain't never been there, so this fight's gonna be in Niagara Falls. But I'll be there. Me and the team will be there. We're gonna put on a class. We're gonna put on the show. Yuga's gonna put on the show. I ain't in the ring, but you get the gist. Hopefully I can be. Let me see. Give your prediction for Fundora and Thurman on PBC. My prediction is that Keith Thurman doesn't even go into the ring. That he pulls out the fight. That's my prediction. That's my only prediction. Forget the fight. I think Keith Thurman pulls out the fight. That's my prediction for the fight. How is that for a prediction, Harold? Keith Thurman doesn't even get into the ring for the damn fight. How is Yuga's English? It's getting better. You know, it's not where it needs to be, but you know, we he understands enough and making it work. And you know, Chat GPT does wonders. What's a fight you recommend? I haven't seen too many. I've been watching less than 2 years right now, so I probably like Seiya versus Higo. I don't know. Is that a mid fight? I like that fight. No, that's a great fight. Shit, I love that fight. Kenshiro, Seigo, Yuri, Koi. If you haven't seen that, I mean, I would assume you're Japanese if you're saying that your favorite fight is Seiya Tsutsumi versus Daigo Higo. But you can watch that fight. If you want to fight that most people on Earth haven't seen, I'll give you an American classic. I'll give you an American classic that not even a lot of Americans know about. I'll give you two of them actually. You can watch Simon Brown versus Tyrone Trice 1, which is a great fight, or you could watch Jeff Chandler versus what's it, Ruben Carter? Yeah, Jeff Chandler versus Ruben Carter, the Battle of Philadelphia. Bantamweights. One of the only like bantamweight American bantamweight world title fights in like the last 50 years. I like that fight. Let me see. Did you know Junto has hold on. Keith is a natural mystic who follows the wisdom of the spiritual guru. Listen. I ain't here to tell nobody what they should or shouldn't do. Keith Thurman, though, yeah, he's an interesting guy. He's a very interesting guy when it comes to like his spirituality and those kind of things. Playing the flute I like Keith. I'm waiting for Keith to fully retire because I feel like when he retires, he's gonna be the best boxing commentator in all boxing anywhere in the world. He's great on the microphone. What is the most interesting thing you've experienced? The most interesting experience you've had so far this camp? Oh my God, where do I even begin? Let me see. What could I tell you guys that I'm allowed to tell you? Because there's some things that are interesting that I can't say on YouTube. I mean, let me see. What's the most interesting thing? I guess the most interesting thing that I already knew this, being part of other training camps, but this training camp is different because I have more responsibility this training camp than I had even at any of the Angelo camps. Just how much goes into a fight, like medicals and the promoters, and then you got to deal with the coaches. And I would say for me, the most interesting part of training camp has been communicating with the nutritionist every single day because you know, people have their preconceived notions of how to cut weight. Even I have my preconceived notions of how a fighter is supposed to cut weight. And then I realized that throughout the duration of this camp that I don't know shit. And most people don't know anything either. So that's been interesting. Trying to think. What can I tell you guys? Because there's some really interesting things that I can't talk about them because they're not. I'll get in trouble if I talk about them. I guess seeing you watching Yuga spar, he's solid at watching sparring, man. I've seen some great fighters spar. I've seen some amazing fighters spar. But he's like, I feel like sometimes when I watch him spar, I should be paying him. Just how talented he is at such a young age. Like, it's crazy to me. He's 22 years old. Because when I think back to when I was 22 years old, and I wasn't as good at this as he is at what he's doing at 22, and I wasn't as disciplined as he is at 22. So it's like, it's amazing to see someone so locked in and focused. Most interesting thing. I'm trying to think. What's the most interesting? We went to a baseball game. That was pretty fun. Today, I'll tell you one thing that was interesting. Today, we went to like we had to get his medicals. So we went to like 3 different places because he needs a specific type of medical done for the fight. And one of the offices we went to, the guy was talking to him, and I was like, yeah, this guy that needs a medical. I was telling him that Yuga is a professional boxer. And Yuga is like, you know, he's short, he's Japanese, he's got great skin, you know, all this stuff. Young kid, you know, kind of looks like he should be in a boy band. But I was telling him, I was like, nah, he looks a certain way, but trust me, in the ring, the kid is vicious. And like, it was just funny seeing this guy because you could tell he didn't know anything about boxing. So just seeing, he's like, I don't believe that he's a boxer. I'm like, yeah, go Google him. And he Googled him and he saw I wasn't lying. So that was cool. But I mean, there's a lot, man. There's a lot of things. I think in about like maybe like a year's time, I'll talk a lot more about what happened in this training camp when I'm allowed to. But right now, there's certain things I can't talk about. But man, this has been an experience. And the crazy thing is, we still got the rest of this week till Sunday. Sunday's an off day, so we got tomorrow, the next day, and then Saturday, and then Sunday. And we got a full week next week, and then we go on to Niagara Falls. So yeah. Corey wants to know, are you blocking my comments? No, I'm not, man. I just haven't been seeing them. Why are people curious if a Japanese boxer speaks English? LOL. Well, in Yuga's case, because he trains here in America and he did go to English school, so it is something that he is trying to learn. And I think you know, we're in this camp house, just me and him, so. That, you know, he's learning. It's getting better. It's getting better. BT, do you think the Monster can win at 126 unified titles? Yes, I do. I do think he has. Of course, he's the Monster. Of course, he could go to 126 and win titles. I think he beats Ball. I think he's definitely beating Ball. Espinoza, I would lean towards Inoue, but I'm not gonna sit here and say it's an easy fight. I just think stylistically, what Espinoza does plays into what Inoue does well. You guys know what I think about the Angelo fight. I wanted to get into that. And then the WBC title is about to go vacant. So that's the state of the featherweight division. BT, if you could work with any current boxer, who would it be? Yugo Osaki, Angelo Leo. And guess what? I'm working with them. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I don't wish to work with anybody else. I feel like I work with the 2 best guys you can work with. Espinoza versus Navarrete. That'd be a hell of a fight. That's what I'm saying. Like, if Espinoza does move up, think about it. As great as, like, I want to see Espinoza versus Angelo. I want to see Espinoza versus Angelo as almost as bad as I want to see Angelo versus Inoue. It's a great fight, but think about it. You know, if you're Espinoza and you're trying to become the next like big time Mexican star, look at all those fights. You got potentially fights with Sugar Nunez. You got potentially fights with Navarrete. You got potentially fights with even like Venado Lopez as a featherweight, and he's been talking a lot of shit in these interviews in Spanish. Like, don't think I'm not seeing them, Venado. You know, not like he's watching, but but Venado in these Spanish interviews has been running his mouth about, you know, the Angelo Leo fight and what he didn't do right. And listen, you got executed like I said you would. So hold that L for life. But Venado Lopez and Espinoza is a potential fight, at 130, because Venado really, I know he can't make featherweight no more, and if he can, it's not healthily. So I think there's plenty of fights for Espinoza against his fellow countrymen, and I think those are the kind of fights he's gonna try to explore. You understand? Shout out to my guy, Mr. Miyagi. He says, "Morning BT." And by the way, thank you for the super chat. He says, "Morning BT. Funny how Eddie Hearn and Frank are both radio silent about Inoue versus MJ results. It's too comical. I believe Junto is dangerous, but the way Inoue kept turning MJ, Junto has a wide enough stance to react fast enough." I definitely see what you're saying, and yeah, I mean Eddie Hearn. Look, people are making fun of Eddie Hearn like he's the biggest loser in all this. I don't see Eddie Hearn as a loser in this because he like when he was talking all that trash about how Inoue was ducking MJ, he's just trying to do right. He's trying to get his fighter an opportunity. And on top of that, let's be real. With these Uzbek fighters that don't speak English, that don't do really any media or have the greatest of personalities, these guys ain't making money like that. Like, you're not really turning over a profit with these Uzbek guys. Like, there hasn't been one Uzbek fighter that you can definitively say was like a superstar fighter, beyond Uzbekistan. Yet, maybe, one day I think there will be, but that day is not today. So the only way Eddie Hearn was going to turn over a profit is for MJ to fight Inoue, and he won. He got MJ the fight with Inoue. MJ wasn't good enough, and life goes on. But yeah, I agree. He said, yeah. Junto has a wide stance, so it's he can react fast enough. I think so. I think Junto's stance is very, very wide, like you said. And Inoue, I think as he continues to fight in this style more and more, he's gonna start learning even better ways to apply this style. You gotta understand, he's never won. Since I've been watching him, and I've been watching Inoue for a long time, I've never seen Inoue go out there and say, you know what? I don't want to knock nobody out today. I just want to box. I never seen him do that, and he did it this fight. So as he gets more experience, so like Picasso fight, Picasso's a taller guy, got a bit of range. He's a guy that, it is a volume puncher himself. I think that's going to be a fight where you see Inoue maybe start to learn some new things about himself as a pure boxer, right? And he's going to get better and better and better with more experience. Or maybe I'm wrong. maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he'll fight a Picasso or a Junto, and he'll see this higher amount of punches being thrown at him, and maybe he'll just get beat the hell up. We don't know. That's the beauty of boxing. You could think a certain thing. You could think a guy is unbeatable. You could think all you want, but guess what? Ultimately, inside that square circle in the ring, that's what tells the truth. That's what really is going to be the ultimate revealer of everything. So we shall see if Inoue, the pure boxer, can handle the volume punching style. But yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm excited about boxing. Boxing goes through cycles. Sometimes boxing is exciting. Sometimes I love it. Sometimes I hate it. But I always find something in boxing to get excited about. So right now in boxing, I'm obviously excited about Yugo Osaki. I'm obviously excited about Inoue versus Inoue's evolution as a fighter. I'm excited about Brian Norman Jr. Devin Haney in a couple weeks. So listen, it's in a beautiful place. We're here. We're on True School Sports. We're alive. We're in good health. I can see my stomach shrinking. I can feel the outline of abs on the True School Sports body. I can feel the American sex symbol coming alive in your boy BT. So life is great, and God is greater. Hold on, man. All right, guys, give me 1 second. I'm gonna come back in like 1 second. Don't go anywhere. All right, never mind. But yeah, life is good. So as far as Inoue, I mean, we touch on him. Right now, this week, I think what I'm really looking forward to, guys, is Oscar Collazo versus Jason Bazan. I'm telling y'all, you guys need to watch this fight. Oscar Collazo, to me,
if you were to rank like the top fighters beneath featherweight, like the top fighters, I feel like Oscar Collazo is one of the little giants of the sport right now. Until someone knocks him off the throne, the sport. And he's in with a real live Filipino puncher who knows how to punch the target. And I'm keeping an extra close eye on Collazo because I know that his goal ultimately is to unify the division. He does want to go undisputed. I don't know if Golden Boy wants to make the investment for him to go undisputed because I already laid out to you guys the economics of what going undisputed will cost you in boxing. And when you're a fighter at 105, it's very difficult to go undisputed. So that's why I think, Oscar, Golden Boy Promotions, they're going to need some help from good old Uncle Turkey Al Sheik. I really believe that, really and truthfully. And so it's possible. Like, I've already thought this in my head. It's very possible. Oscar Collazo might move up to 108. And I'm going to tell you right now, if he moved, listen, don't let Oscar Collazo move to 108 and let Yugo Osaki have a title. Because if Yugo Osaki got a title and Oscar Collazo comes up to 108, we want all the smoke. We want all that smoke of Oscar Collazo. In fact, I'll put it out there right now. That's going to be like one of the if he comes up to 108 and Yugo's up there with a title, that could be one of the big fights in the lighter weight categories. And we're gonna be here on True School Sports talking crazy, talking like, hyping it up, getting you guys fired up and getting you excited. I like Oscar Collazo, but I'm loyal to my guy, my boy Yugo Osaki. So yeah, it's possible. There is a reality where that's possible, where Oscar Collazo maybe can't get the fight to undisputed because maybe Golden Boy or Turkey don't want to put the money up to make him undisputed. And then he says, you know what, man? Forget all that. I'm going to 108. I'm going to pursue being a two-division champion. And then if that happens, oh my God, Christmas is coming early because we're gonna go snatch a note if Oscar Collazo comes up to 108. I'll tell you that right now. But that'd be a great fight because we know Oscar Collazo is one of the most dynamic southpaws in boxing, any weight class. And Yugo has a lot to prove, and I could definitely I could talk about him to the cows come home, but I believe from what I've seen in the gym and in his fights that he's also one of the most dynamic southpaws in boxing. So, we'll see how it goes. If it's meant to be, it'll be as we saw Crawford Canelo. The cream always rises to the top. So if we're meant to be there, we'll be there. And if Oscar Collazo is meant to be there, he'll stay there even when he moves up. But hold on, man. I'm trying to see. See, this is what I don't like about my streams out of my phone. Like when someone super chats, I gotta wait for the super chat to come off so I can see you guys' comments, because you guys are probably leaving some great comments right now. I literally can't even see them right now, so I gotta wait for the super chat to come off the screen from my boy Mr. Miyagi, because I don't know why it does that. Anyway, shout out to everybody here. Do me a favor, guys, because I'm going to see the comments eventually at some point. Let me know what city, what state, what continent you're watching from. Let me know, where you're at. I want to see how international we are on the broadcast. You guys know where I'm at. I'm in the Bay Area. I'm in California. I'm in the Bay Area. It's my third week here, and I love it out here. I love the Bay Area. People here. It's like being in LA, but Bay Area people are like nicer. They're like more down to earth, more like real, which I like. Because in LA, I'm not saying there's not good people in LA, but in LA, sometimes people can be like real snooty and pretentious and I don't know, stuck up. And I don't like that. I like real. Same thing in boxing. That's why sometimes I don't like these big fights, because sometimes these big fights that you guys talk my ear off about, I don't think they're real. I think they'd be on some bullshit. But let me see. Every other city we go. Every other video. I'm trying to think what else going on in boxing right now. I haven't even checked the news today. Let me see. Yeah, what else is going on in boxing, guys? Let's see, we got Collazo fight this weekend. Tio and Shakur. While I'm waiting for the super chat to come off the screen, so I can see you guys. Oh, there you go. Finally, there you go. He says, Osaki's going to love the island and the beach. My man, Angel. Shout out to Angel Diaz. Y'all, BT can... Oh, my man's typing in Japanese. Why is typing in Japanese? BT, we can take you and Osaki to PR to spar with Colosso. Spar? We ain't trying to spar. We want smoke. What you mean spar? We ain't no sparring partner. We are one of the best fighters in the world. He ain't no sparring partner. So you'll see. Thank you for covering Inoue, even though he's a top 3 pound-for-pound boxer. I barely see anyone covering him versus MJ. I understand it was overshadowed. Listen, Inoue, people think I hate Inoue because, the whole featherweight thing. Listen, man, Inoue is one of my favorite fighters, and he's one of the funnest fighters to cover on this entire channel. Can we do a Miami Hurricanes game? You're tripping, bro. You're tripping. I know why you want to go there, and it ain't because no damn football. Good to hear you're doing well and fit physically, man. Oh my God, I'm in supreme shape right now. Cause I'm in the gym every day with you. So sometimes I just sit around, but I'm like, no, I'm in the gym all the time, so I might as well just train. And so I've been training here and there, and yeah. Why did you delete the video of Southpaw TV? That's a great question. Let your yes be your yes and your no be your no. Thus saith the Lord. That's my answer. I said what I needed to say. I don't need to say no more. He got the message. He knows. Like I don't gotta leave it up there no more. Like I said what I needed to say. I don't gotta repeat myself. Y'all saw it. Like it is what it is. I mean it in a good way, like Boots and Canelo, Osaki and Colosso that way, but it's okay if it was a joke. Oh no, I respect it. But no, I mean they're both the same age. They're both like they're both not the same age, but like they're a lot closer in age than Boots and Canelo. Boots and Canelo are it's a gap, and that I really do believe in my heart of hearts that like Oscar Colazo is a great fighter. I think he's gonna do his thing at 105, and then inevitably he's gonna come up to 108. And I think when he comes up to 108, there's a possibility that we might have a title. So yeah. Did Southpaw? I don't know, man. I don't listen, man. I'm gonna be like very, very brief here. Unless you're Sean Zattel, the Boxing Voice, Coach Malachi Williams, and maybe like one or two of the YouTubers that I personally know, I don't give a fuck, and I don't listen to what none of these other YouTubers say. I be in my own world, bro. Like yesterday, I'm in training camp. Yesterday, you had 3 sessions. I was up at 6 o'clock in the morning, running 3 miles with Yugo and the fighters at the gym where he trains. I ran 3 miles with them. They did some sprints. That was session 1. Come home for a couple of hours, rest up a little bit, eat, go to the gym for boxing training. Okay. After boxing training, go there, do that, rest for a couple more hours, come back, do conditioning. You think I got time to worry about what YouTubers are saying about True School Sports? I'm really doing shit in boxing. Like not to be arrogant. Like I'm not being arrogant, but it's the truth. Like, is it arrogance for telling the truth? Like, I'm really out here doing things in boxing that are meaningful and moving the fight game forward. And you think I'm worried about what another man has to say about BT? Hell nah. He's lucky he even got like, what was it, 6 minutes or how long that video was. And that was because I was bored. There wasn't shit going on in boxing. So I was like, F it, why not? I'll give him some energy. But like that's what it is. Like I ain't worried about him. And he should be worried about me. He got a family. Are you down with the LDBC? I'm down with Jesus Christ. The only gang I'm part of is the Jesus Christ gang. That's it. I ain't worried about no LDBC, no YTBC, no nothing. You respect me, I respect you. And that's it. That's all. That's how it's got to be. But as Floyd Mayweather says, if you violate, I will demonstrate. I want to visit the Miami University. I'm thinking of going to school there. Would you want to visit the campus? I've already been on the campus. I used to go to that campus like for fun. When I had a friend that went there, I used to go visit him. I used to go visit him every weekend, like back in 2016. I know all about that campus, all too well. I was in the fight. I was at the fight, trying to get in touch with Tom to tell. So after all that has happened, who is your number one pound for pound? Mine is Crawford. I would say mine. It has to be Crawford. I mean, he did things that haven't been done in boxing. I mean, Crawford right now, I think, is number one by himself, and then you could argue whoever else you want after that. But I think he's earned his spot. You forgot to answer my question earlier. I said, did you know that Junto only has 20 amateur boxing fights? I heard he had a short amateur career. I didn't know the exact number, but I knew he had like somewhere around that number. That's not uncommon. I mean, in Japan, a lot of guys have between 50 to 70 amateur fights, but 20 is not a lot. And that might be because Junto actually migrated to the States. He wound up living with Rudy Hernandez. Rudy kind of built him for that pro style as from a kid to now. So he had a different arrangement than most Japanese fighters. He trains at a Japanese boxing gym, but I don't think he really went through the Japanese boxing system the same way that most Japanese fighters go through the Japanese boxing system, because he spent a good part of his time early in his life here in America training with a Mexican-American trainer. You're going back to Florida for the Jake and Tank fight? Probably not. Honestly, I'm probably not, because, first of all, I don't care about that fight. It's a farce. Is it a great excuse to go to South Florida? Yeah, but am I going to stress to go over it? No, not really. Because even after the Yugo Osaki fight, I got things in California to take care of. So we're not worried about that fight, because that fight ain't worried about me. How many amateur fights does Yugo Osaki have? That's a good question. He started boxing at age 6. He won the silver medal at the 2019 Asian Games. I'm gonna say he has 70 or 75, somewhere around there. He told me recently too. It's like 70 or 75. But he's been boxing since he was a kid. So even though he don't have 100 fights, he's got a lot of experience being in the gym and things like that. And it shows when you watch his fights. At BT, no worries. Me and Jan was chatting Japanese a bit. He knows it, and he's living it. I know. Listen, I know him. That's my boy. That's my friend. That's my guy right there. Hachiochi Nakaya Gym, stand up. I know, man. I knew about Jan before he was even training there. It's my guy. So I heard him speak Japanese. His wife's Japanese. His wife translated one of my interviews here on True School. She did a great job. So he's part of this channel's history. It's my guy. Has there ever been a horrible amateur boxer who transitioned to pro and became world champion? Yeah. Glenn Johnson, Freddie Pendleton. I wouldn't say Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford wasn't a horrible amateur, but he wasn't no gold medalist. He didn't represent Team USA in the Olympics. So I mean, shit, you can use him if you want. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of it. Keith Thurman Keith Thurman became an Olympic alternate because he got better towards the end of his amateur career. But Keith Thurman will be the first to tell you that he was not a very good amateur, and he got better as time went on. So he became champion. So there's plenty of examples. Shout out to Talkers, my main man. Junto trained in the U.S. at the age of 15. I mentioned this ages ago. If you look at the number of fights he took to get to a world title, it's a lot more than a normal Japanese boxer. Correct. Because he didn't go through the Japanese system the way other guys do. You understand? At least we get in the fights. That's right. At least we get in the fights. Which fights have people clamored for that have we actually gotten? Since you brought it up, because you love to bring this up, Sebastian. Canelo Crawford became a big fight because of the promotion, and I give it to him. But it wasn't a fight that people were clamoring for beforehand. So what fights have been delivered that you keep talking about? Chris Miller Smith got beaten for years in amateurs. Nobody thought he'd even win an English title. And then he went exactly. Chris Miller Smith was a guy. Angel Leo wasn't no. I mean, Angel Leo wasn't terrible in the amateurs, but he wasn't no blue chip amateur. He had some tough fights. If you go and you look early in his career when he fought in New Mexico, he fought some guys that maybe didn't have a name, but they had some guys with good records. And I've seen some of those early fights in his career. Those guys came to win, and he wasn't like supposed to be a champion once, let alone twice. So I mean, I could use him. Even though I wouldn't say he's horrible. He said we wanted that fight. Shit, nah. People wanted Dea Benavidez. We were talked into wanting Crawford versus Canelo. There's a difference. People wanted Benavidez. I bet you if Benavidez and I'm willing to wager with you guys that if Benavidez and Canelo would have fought on Netflix, it would get more than 41 million views. I promise you that one. There's no way in hell Crawford and Canelo is a bigger fight than Benavidez and Canelo. What are your thoughts on Duke Reagan? It seems like he can't translate the amateur style to pros. Maybe he should retire. Has he? Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't Duke Reagan still undefeated? He might have one loss, but I feel like he might be undefeated. But yeah, he has a style that's very amateurish. He still fights like he's in the AIDA World Championships. BT, what is Angelo Leo's amateur record? He had I know he had 75 or 80 amateur fights. He didn't look like he didn't lose no more than 12 or 15 times. I can't remember the exact record right now, but I've seen his amateur book at his house. He showed it to me before. He wasn't he was solid, but he wasn't no great amateur. And the way he was matched early in his career, you could tell they weren't paying him to be no world champion, but he became one because he was good enough to become one. Easily be a bit of I wanted that fight for ages. I did too, and then when I got it, I was it was good. So I was alright, but it wasn't it wasn't the fight that I was hoping it'd be either time. I thought the fight for what I thought it was supposed to be, it really underwhelmed. Not saying they were terrible fights, it just didn't have those ebbs and flows. It didn't have those moments that the great fights have. Because I feel like Better Be a Bivol was supposed to be a great fight. It was a lot of your turn, my turn. But that's just my opinion. Still a big fan of both guys. I'm a huge fan of both guys. Zepeda versus Shakur was a mandatory that got delayed by Turkey, making Shakur versus Padley. At least you're getting the fight. Versus the electrician. Yes, at least you're getting the fights. Is Ken Sherrill still on your top 10 pound list? Shit, he should be. He should be. I mean, people had Canelo on pound list, and I thought Ken Sherrill has been doing better the last 3-4 years than Canelo. Yeah, why not? He could be number 10. Because I don't think he lost Ricardo Sandoval, truthfully. Is Angelo going to retire at 130, 135? I don't know. That all depends on his body. I would probably say 130. He's still undefeated, but he's barely winning these fights, and he's getting dropped and getting hurt. Well, hey, he's still undefeated, and still, yeah, I'm not a Duke Reagan guy. Actually, I mean, I'll keep that to myself. Not everything is for the internet. When is your boy Leo's next fight? I don't know, and I don't think he knows. There's other things going on beyond boxing that are out of our control. Which, if they ever come out, I'll talk about them, and I'll talk about them very, very frankly. But I can't talk about them now. I got Carlos. So at 115 is so crazy right now because I can't remember if it was the WBC or which organization, but Carlos Cuadras and Charles Tito are 1 and 2. They're really up there. So there's a possibility we might get Romo Gonzalez versus Carlos Cuadras in a rematch of two old guys for the title all these years later. Shit. That would be something. Leo versus Zhao Schming in China. That's his next fight. It's pretty funny you bring that up because that Angelo will tell you himself that was one of the first people he ever sparred was Zhao Schming when he was 15 at Wildcard Gym. Yuga can be part of Team Leo too, but if Inoue fights Leo, then Yuga will have to choose. Hey man, listen, Yugo's been invited to come and be part of Team Leo. There's some things in the works, but not be part of the team, but train with the team. Yugo has his own team, and he has a great coach who I won't say his name because I don't think it's worth talking about right now. But like his team is already in place, but like there's been discussions about training with each other, not Yuga training them again, like changing trainers. His trainer is very good. I like his trainer a lot. I think his trainer's doing a hell of a job. But yeah, that. Look out for that in the future. Don't be surprised one day if you see a video come out and they're all training together. BT, can you do an exposed message? Oh hell yeah! You know what? Because I haven't even had a chance to make my damn video yet. I've been running around all around the Bay Area, like just doing my thing and trying to keep this camp and keep this camp house in order. But listen, man, I didn't get a chance to talk to say what I wanted to say because man, people been gassing up Yoshiki Takei when I was staying in Yokohama. I kept seeing Yoshiki Takei signs everywhere. Everyone was telling me he's this and he's that. He's so like, nah, bro. Yoshiki Takei is a good fighter. I'm not saying he's not good. He became world champion and he didn't become that on accident. But nah, man, he's overrated. Stairs Basumi would have beat the brakes off of him, and he still beat the brakes off of him if they fight. So yeah, Yoshiki Takei exposed. That was kind of loud. By Christian Medina. So there you go. Happy. That was the one thing. I got Canelo Crawford wrong, but I got that one right. So we're okay with that one. I'm okay with the outcomes. BT, are you chilling? I am. I'm chilling. After a long day, I'm just chilling. This is the most time I've had to stay in one place the whole day today. It's been running here, running there, running here, running there. That's part of the fight game. Chalatito is beyond a watch at this point. It was genuinely sad watching that fight. Piece of shit. You guys see me? Can you guys see me? BT, do you have a trip planned for boxing in the works? Yeah, I do. October 3rd. Let's go, October 3rd. I don't care about nothing until after October 3rd. I don't care about no Jake Paul. I don't even care about no Brian Norman. I don't care about nothing, bro. All I care about is October the 3rd, Yugo Osaki versus Aziel VR. That's all I care about. So that's the next trip. After that, I don't know what the future holds. All I know is October 3rd, I'll be in Niagara Falls. I'll be at the Seneca Casino. I'll be watching Yugo Osaki become the WBO mandatory challenger. That I can tell you. But other than that, I can't really tell you much more than that. Yeah, the internet cut out on me. The internet cut out on me. What are we at right now? We're at 1 hour and 40 minutes. What time is it right now? So right now it's 11:50. So let me see. Man, I'm not even gonna sleep tonight. This is crazy. I'm not gonna get no sleep because I gotta clean this. I gotta clean up there. Oh man, camp baby, camp. You don't get no time, BT. You want to run your YouTube channel? You want to be in the fight game? You gotta pay the price. You gotta lose some sleep sometimes. Anyway, let me see. What did I miss? BT, what is Yuga's thoughts on Inoue's latest style? We talked about it. He was very encouraged, and he liked the fact that Inoue was boxing. You know, if I'm not mistaken, I think today he was watching that fight on his phone to the gym because the gym we train at is like 20 minutes from where we live. So he's normally on his phone watching some fight. And I think today he was watching Inoue. Isn't Rafael Espinosa supposed to fight in Mexico? What opponent do you think they will choose for him? It won't be. I don't think it'll be any of the champions. So if he's fighting in Mexico, you gotta think about it like this. This will be what? So he fought Sergio Trino Sanchez, he fought Robesi, and then he fought Edward Vasquez. So this will be the fourth defense of his title, and it'll be the first one in Mexico. So whoever is the biggest can in the WBO rankings that presents the least challenge to him, that's going to make him look good in front of the Mexican public, that's what they're going to pick. So whoever you think that is, that's who they're going to pick. With Yugo fighting soon, is the giveaway in the works? Or maybe after the fight, we'll see. We shall see. I don't know if I want to give anything away. I don't know if we can give anything away. I have to run it by him. But right now, we had a rough day today. He was kind of grumpy today. So we had a rough day today. Not every day at camp is beautiful, but we got through it because we're champions, and nothing will stop him or myself from getting to where we need to get. So I'm not gonna ask for nothing right now because he just didn't want fighters. Look, guys, for those of you who haven't spent a lot of time around fighters, I'm gonna tell you guys this: if you spend enough time around these fighters, they're moody. They're super moody, and they should be because they're preparing for war. They're preparing for war. They have to give up a lot of things that I'm sure they want to do. Some fighters like to go out and have fun. Some fighters like to drink. Yes, some fighters like to drink. And of course, the big one, all fighters like having sex. So you're giving up these things, and you're not really having much of a social life, and you're really doing something that less than 0.1% of society can do. And so with that comes a lot of mood swings. Think about all the crazy things you guys hear about. Think about how frustrated you guys get as boxing fans having to listen to boxing and what goes on in boxing sometimes. Imagine what the fighters got to go through, So we had one of them days today, and fighters get moody. BT, when is Nick Paul going to fight as mandatory? When Queensberry thinks it's good enough? I don't know. I can't speak for him. I can't speak for Nick Paul. Nick Paul. I'm trying to figure out when he's going to fight somebody who's a featherweight. Yeah. Yes. Where is it? Angel Diaz says Arnold K guy versus Rafael Espinosa. Yes, that is the exact kind of fight. Something like that, like Espinosa versus K guy. Espinosa versus Joet Gonzalez. Espinosa versus maybe even let me see, one of those Japanese guys, Toshiki Shimomachi, like one of those kind of guys. Some of that easy work. Someone solid, someone that's credible, that's good, but that's gonna get their ass beat and let the Mexican fans in his hometown be happy. So, something like that. Don't expect. My man said boxing fans are low IQ. I think the world in general is low IQ. The world in general. I don't want to just regulate it to boxing fans. The world in general could be very, very low IQ. But look, guys, listen, we're at what? We're an hour and 43. I'm going 2 hours. I'm going the distance today. We're gonna go the distance. So you guys got me for 17 more minutes. But when this shit hits 2 hours, I have to go to bed because I have to be up at 5 in the morning. So I'm probably gonna get 2 hours of sleep. 2 hours of sleep today. You guys probably won't get a live tomorrow. So make this time count. Ask me some good questions. Hit the like button, super chat, all that stuff. We here in camp. You guys know, you guys see it. You guys see the True School Sports basement penthouse estate. We here. You see, what is Angel Leo's walk around weight? Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I haven't been around him in a while. But I mean, he's not like a Jarrett Hurd or like a Benavidez. Like, he's not gonna be too high above his fighting weight. So you could probably say in the low 140s. I don't know if Jan's talking to me or the Koi, but he said, "Do you train?" So I don't know if he's talking to Koi, but if you're talking to me, Jan, the answer is yes. I've been training. I like hanging out with BT. We hanging out, champ. We hanging out. We having fun. Who do you think put up a better fight, MJ or Canelo? Oh my God, you asking? Honestly, Canelo. I think Canelo, because I think Canelo tried to hurt Crawford and loaded up on big shots, and he won more rounds in this fight than MJ did. I'll tell you that. But they both performed pretty bad. They both performed at a pretty low standard. Am I excited for Ken Sho 115? I'm excited for anything Ken Sho does. Ken Sho is one of my favorite fighters, and he's actually one of the only fighters in boxing. He's probably like one of the 5 fighters in boxing right now that's keeping my love for the sport alive. Like if he didn't exist, it's very possible there wouldn't be a True School Sports because he's one of the only fighters that's keeping my love for boxing alive the last couple years. But yeah, they're talking about him fighting Ubaldo Garcia, and I think that's the right move because Ricardo Sandoval ain't gonna give him no rematch because Ricardo Sandoval deep down in his heart knows he didn't win the fight, and they know what's gonna happen to him in a rematch. So they're gonna go try to fight Galal fight, that nonsense. But Ken Shiro, I think it's the right move for him. He's gonna go fight Ubaldo Garcia, a guy that's fought in Japan, who has a relationship with Japanese promoters. Mexican fighter, high volume, good fighter. Ken Shiro wins that fight. He's a 3-division champion, and it opens up the door for big fights at 115. So why not? Why don't you like Kazuda Ioka no more? I was never a big Ioka guy. I mean, I respected him. I watch him, but I was never a big Kazuda Ioka guy. I actually think Kazuda Ioka, while he's very good, I actually think people, because there was not anymore because Junto's rise. But I remember before Junto got really popping, really popular, and before Ken Shiro started to go on a run again. There was a time where I felt like people were saying that Ioka was the second best fighter in Japan. And I'm like, bro, you guys are crazy. I think you were crazy for saying that. But that's my opinion. Dog says, do you think they're building Itama right, slowly building him up because people want him to fight top 5 boxers and they're calling him a higher job because of it? Well, he's ranked. The thing is, he's young, but he's already ranked up that high. So he really is in the position. He's in the position to fight guys like Hergovich, Parker, Worley, these kind of guys. But we'll see. I can't answer that question right now because he's now just got to that level where he has to start fighting real dangerous top oppositions. But I like Moses. I think Moses is good for boxing, and I think Moses is a lot of fun. I hope Ken Shiro can put on some muscle 115. Yeah, look, man. I just want him to get back to his boxing. You talk about a guy he needs to go look if there's a fighter in Japan that needs to look at Inoue's last performance and start boxing more again, it's him because he used to actually box a lot more early in his career, and then somewhere along the way he just decided, you know what, every fight I want to let my nuts hang and just go to war, which is great. It's made for great fights, but it's not the best version of him that he can present. So no, man. Sorry to BT for spamming his life. Now you good, man. I'm a professional. I can stay focused and sift through all the personal conversations you guys are having. Go ahead, have fun. Y'all talking about Hashi Jim and Yokohama Hikari and all that stuff. Shit, I kind of miss Yokohama. BT, last question from me. Do you think Top Rank is losing money with not having a broadcast deal? All the Top Rank fighters are on these smaller promotions since Top Rank don't have a deal. Top Rank, I don't know about losing money. I mean, they've already lost money and they don't have it. Yeah, they're losing money, but it's just weird because now Top Rank, they're making their guys fight on PBC cards with these PBC cards and now have Turkey running them. So boxing's weird. Boxing's gone to shit in America. That's crazy. Do you think Inoue 3 years ago stops MJ? I think 3 years ago. So what? 2020? Yeah, yeah, for sure. Probably would have been a better fight. Francesco Grandielli might be Espinal's next opponent. He's not good, and he's ranked in the top 15. Well, there you go. An Italian guy, right? I'm assuming he's Italian with that name, Grandielli. Probably light. I bet you, without even going on BoxRec, he got like a sub 50% knockout ratio, something like that. So yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds very top ranked. That sounds very like Zanford Promotions. That sounds like something they would do. Have I met Naoya Inoue in person? We've never formally met. Like, I've never went up to him and said, hey, Naoya. But I've been within 5 feet of him multiple times. I saw him. Where did I see him? I saw him at the Ramon Cardenas press conference. He walked right by me. I was on ESPN. He's, if you watch the ESPN broadcast, you'll see Inoue walk right by me. I've seen him at Ohashi Gym 2 times. The second time I saw him, he was just there doing sit-ups, but I didn't bother him because everybody was staring at me. So I've seen him plenty of times. It's not even special anymore. I've seen him, but we haven't ever spoken. I don't know if we'll ever get a chance to speak, but it's not heartbreaking to me anymore. It used to be kind of heartbreaking to me, but now it's like it's just part of life. Like, some things are meant to be and some things aren't. Who knows? Maybe when Inoue fights Junto Nakatani and he needs a speedy southpaw in for sparring, maybe he'll spar Yuga and that's how I'll meet him. I don't know, but we'll see. He has aura. I mean, everyone says that. To me, he was just a regular guy. I don't get starstruck by people, even if they're great fighters. Like, I don't get starstruck. I've been around boxing too long. The only time I get starstruck is like when I see fighters that like I haven't met before that I grew up with. Like when I met Bernard Hopkins for the first time, that was a moment. When I met Kasunori Takayama, that was a moment. But like, when I met Shinsuke Manaka, that was a moment. But it's few and far between where I'll get overly excited or anything like that. And plus, I've seen Inoue a bunch of times already. I asked Brian O'Messina on the Boxing Voice how hard his son said Zaki hits, and he said he gonna let his son answer that. Suggests to me that Sasaki can punch, and he didn't want to say. I haven't heard Brian Noman answer that question like since Fight Night. Now, he answered that on Fight Night, but when he was doing the interview, it was after the fight. He was on Cloud 9, and he was doing the interview with a guy that he knows personally, and they talk a lot of shit. So he said, "Oh, his power was mediocre," but I don't know. I don't think that. I think I've watched that fight like 10 times. Jin got his attention with some shots, and Brian Noman Jr. is not an easy guy to move back. So I feel like I know, bro. I know Jin is punching like that. Only ever felt that around him. No other world champion has given me that. About Inoue? Nah, man. I don't get starstruck around no one. Not Inoue, not no one. The only, you know what? Let me see. Have I ever been starstruck in boxing? To be honest with you, I never got. I don't think I've ever really been starstruck. No, that's not true. That's not true. I was starstruck when I met Marvin Hagler and Miguel Cotto because Marvin Hagler is my dad's favorite fighter, and Miguel Cotto was someone that I grew up watching a lot. So and so like seeing those two guys, and I was like, what? I was 21 when I was 21 years old when I met both those guys. So them two guys, I would say, yeah. But like after that, it's like, what is there to ever be starstruck about? I met Marvin Hagler. I met Marvin Hagler. Once you meet the Marvin Hagler, Sugar Ray Leonard, them kind of guys, you don't get starstruck around nobody. You know. I got starstruck when I saw Steve Kim at a Golden Boy. That's funny. Brian Norman versus Devin Haney. Who you got? Brian Norman Jr. Decapitation, 7 rounds or less. That's my prediction. 7 rounds or less. Devin is getting the brakes being out of him. This is gay as hell. He said, I also want to meet Bud Crawford. He is very good looking. Oh God, no comments. We don't judge men on the looks. We judge women on their looks. But to each their own. It's 2025, I guess. Tim Zhu said he's getting a new team. He needs to go to America. Shout out to Tim Zhu, man. Hopefully it works out for him. Yeah, he fired Glenn Jennings. I saw that. He fired Glenn Jennings. Glenn managed his dad. And then Glenn, I like Glenn. Glenn's a great guy. I love Glenn. I have a lot of time for him. He's always giving me a lot of time, but like we're just being objective here. He kept running Tim to the ground. Like Tim, every move he made recently seemed to be the wrong move. So I met Canelo at a press conference 10 years ago. Yeah, I've met Canelo twice. I met Crawford. I met Earl Spence. Met all them guys. It's not BT. When are we getting your top 5 most attractive females? Oh no, I can't do that, champ. I can't name my top 5 most attractive because a couple of them work in boxing, so we can't be putting that information out there, because they'll use it against me. So we're not gonna get that list. You're not gonna get that list from me. If you see me in person, you could ask me and I'll tell you. But right now, you're not getting that list on the live. Unfortunately, it's too late for Tim Tszyu. It all started with his corner refusing to pull him out of the front. Yeah, I was there. It was pretty hellacious. It's pretty bad. Yeah, Hyro, you say I told you no matter what anyway, so it don't matter. Oh man, nah, man, we don't do that. We don't do. He said name the top 3 most attractive. No, we like women. We don't do that, champ. That's what you like. That's what you do. But we don't. I don't do that. I was raised differently. Shakur ain't gonna stand with Teal. He's gonna move and move and move. We'll see, man. We shall see. It'll be a great fight when it happens. It'll be a Turkey Outlaw Sheik in association with PBC in association with fighters that were built by Top Rank. So ain't that beautiful? Boxing's finally united. Can I withdraw from Dalton Smith? No. Harold, you was talking that cash shit about Dalton Smith's gonna beat Subra Matias, and no, don't back up the block now. You was talking that Dalton Smith shit. You stand on that Dalton Smith shit. We're gonna beat the brakes off of him. You used to drive in that rainbow intersection all the time, Harold. Stop, man. Yeah, possibly. Nick Ball might kick him. He might kick him in his nuts, though. Nick Ball loves to kick people and elbow, and he's a very rugged guy. Do I think Nakatani will go? Yeah, oh my God. He's going to featherweight for sure. He's too big. He's too big to not go above super bantamweight. It would shock me if Nakatani never competes above the super bantamweight limit. I would say so. Why not? Roach and Shakur are looking like future opponents for Matias. Possibly. If Roach does go up there and he beats Isa Cruz, then that's a fight that can be explored. And if Shakur wants to come to 140, yeah, they can do the big they can do the big Puerto Rican super fight. Nakatani officially vacated today. There you go. So now he's officially a super bantamweight fighter, a super bantamweight contender, and we can look forward to the big fight. Yeah, well, that's what Eddie Hearn does. Eddie Hearn did the same thing with Raymond Ford. He signed Ford out of the amateurs, but then he don't want to really pay the money for Ford when he fought Komatov. So it's not the first time Eddie Hearn did that with one of his fighters, and it's not gonna be the last time Eddie Hearn does that with one of his fighters. But guys, look, it's been a pleasure. But on that note, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up because we're about to hit the 2-hour mark. Well, guys, thank you so much. Let me sit up and say this. Thank you so much for waiting around for me and being patient with me because today was a very, very challenging day. Today was one of those days that really, like today and yesterday were those days where you get tested to see, like, BT, do you really want these things that you say and you think you want out of the sport of boxing? Like, do you really want to be involved in this to this degree? And I can confidently say that the answer is a resounding yes. And it's an honor. It's an honor to be part of and help run Yugo Osaki's training camp. So, guys, on that note, I'm not sure if it'll be alive tomorrow. I'm pretty sure they won't be. So, probably like 2 days will be alive.
we'll wait for some things to come out in boxing. I'll have some more videos coming out. But guys, take care. Thank you so much for all the love and support. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me. But I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.